Hi, I'm Doug, and these are Wycliffe's words. A couple of weeks ago, we looked at 3 different English words that descend from the same Middle English root. Well, we're going to do that again today, but in a totally different context. Let me set the scene for you. Paul is in prison. He's being held in Caesarea, where he's waiting to be sent to Rome. That's where he'll make his final appeal before the emperor. While he's languishing in the provinces, though, he has an audience with the local ruler, King Agrippa. Wycliffe says that Agrippa and his wife, Bernice, entered into the auditory. The auditory. It sounds like auditorium to me, but the NIV translates it as the audience room. Of course, those 2 words, audience and auditorium, share the same root. It's obvious when you think about it, but that's the problem with common words in our native tongue. They're common. We don't think about them. They just pop out. We don't analyze the relationship between audio, having to do with sound or hearing, auditorium, a place where you go to listen to someone, and audience, the people who have gathered to listen. And not only are those 3 words related, but the concepts behind all 3 are vital to our own Christian lives. First, we must listen. Throughout all Scripture, God repeatedly commands us to hear Him. Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. Jesus called the crowds to Him and said, "Listen and understand." Faith comes by hearing. And God said, "This is my Son. Listen to Him." We do some of that listening in an auditorium, sometimes called a sanctuary, where we gather weekly to hear God speak to us through the reading of the Word and through expository preaching. And finally, like Paul, we ourselves are called to an audience with the King. Paul was called to defend himself before Agrippa. We too will one day be called to state our case before the King of Kings. Paul admitted that he had sinned. He had persecuted the followers of Jesus of Nazareth. He'd put them in prison and even approved of their deaths. We too must confess our original sinfulness. But Paul was changed. He met Christ on the road to Damascus, and that made all the difference. He was converted from persecutor to preacher. When we find Christ on our own Damascus road, it marks our conversion from rebel to disciple. And that too makes all the difference. God will say to us what Agrippa said of Paul: "This one has done nothing that deserves death or imprisonment." We will be forgiven. And those are Wycliffe's words. See you again next week.